Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever kept a home aquarium, chances are you've already crossed paths with the platy fish. They're bright, they're super active, and they're famously easy to keep. But what if I told you that this completely ubiquitous, beginner-friendly little fish is actually hiding some absolutely incredible biological secrets? I'm talking about secrets that are actively helping scientists combat major human diseases like cancer and dengue fever. No way, right? Well, today we are going to completely rethink what we know about the common platy. So here is a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start off by meeting the platy, exploring their varieties and colors, and then we'll dive into optimal care and feeding. After that, we're going to uncover the secrets of their reproduction, look at tank mates and disease prevention, and finally reveal their incredible role as a scientific superhero. All right, let's jump right into Section 1. Meet the platy fish, taxonomy and origins. Long before they were swimming around in our living rooms, these incredibly resilient livebearers were actually navigating the freshwater basins of Mexico and Central America.
Now, there are two foundational species that have been crossbred for well over a century to create the popular ornamental strains we see today. First up, you have Xiphophorus maculatus, the southern platy fish. Think of this guy as the ancestral backbone for the vast majority of commercial platies out there. And then you have Xiphophorus variatus, the variable platy fish. In the wild, they're known for these really cool olive tones with melanic marbling, plus these slight physical quirks, like tiny little notches on their pectoral fins. When breeders originally combined these two lineages, it literally opened up a whole new world of visual possibilities.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2, platy varieties and colors, a spectrum of genetic expression. Let's see how those wild ancestral lineages built the incredible chromatic diversity that hobbyists can get today. We have some incredibly popular varieties on the market right now. You've got the Mickey Mouse, which is famously named for those 3 distinct spots on its tail. Then there's the tuxedo, the wagtail with its solid black fins, the gorgeous sunset gradient, and the vibrant coral. But here is the truly fascinating part about all of this. These aren't actually different species at all. They are genetically fixed chromatic patterns that have been achieved through decades of selective breeding. So whether you're looking at a bright sunset or a classic wagtail, underneath that colorful exterior, they all share the exact same physiological needs and baseline species standards. It's kind of like a giant genetic puzzle. And that takes us to Section 3, optimal care and feeding, science-backed husbandry. Let's completely forget the guesswork here and look at the actual evidence-based parameters that maximize their health, their growth, and their vibrancy. 8%. That is the magic number. It refers to an 8% daily body biomass feeding rate. Research actually shows that feeding them this exact percentage is scientifically proven to maximize somatic growth in juvenile platies. So instead of just vaguely sprinkling some flakes into the water and, hoping for the best, understanding this precise metric really helps you raise incredibly robust, healthy adults. Speaking of what they eat, let's look at an optimal diet. Their baseline should definitely be high-quality flakes or micropellets, supplemented with live or frozen foods like Artemia and Daphnia. But check out these functional additives. Adding just 3% spirulina or 9% red amaranth will naturally and significantly intensify their pigmentation. Studies even show that you can replace up to half of their commercial feed with yellow mealworms to really boost their immune system and overall growth. Now, just 2 quick warnings here. First, if you ever see your platy trailing a really long fecal string, don't panic. It usually just means you're overfeeding them, not that they have some terrible parasite. And second, this is absolutely crucial. Never feed them laboratory diets designed for zebrafish. Even though they're both small omnivores, science clearly shows that zebrafish diets will actively disrupt a platy's delicate gut microbiome. All right, let's move along to Section 4, the secrets of reproduction, anatomy, and maternity. Live-bearing fish are super fascinating, but to understand exactly how they breed, we first kind of have to know who is who.
It's all about their pronounced sexual dimorphism. First off, notice the size difference. Females are actually the larger ones, reaching up to 7 centimeters, while males stay quite a bit smaller, usually topping out at 5 centimeters. But the real dead giveaway is the anal fin. The male features a gonopodium. This is an evolutionarily modified, elongated, spiked fin that's specifically used for internal fertilization. The female, on the other hand, just has a standard, broad, fan-shaped anal fin. Now, once you know how to spot a female, you might run into a very common, very surprising scenario. Picture this. Why does a female platy continue to just magically give birth in an aquarium for months on end, even if there hasn't been a single male in the tank for ages? It's a total mystery that has absolutely shocked countless novice aquarists.
While the answer is a literal biological superpower called sperm storage, which enables something called superfetation. Following just one single copulation, a female platy can store viable sperm in her reproductive tract for months. She incubates the fertilized eggs completely internally and then gives birth to fully developed, free-swimming fry, over and over again, all from that one single encounter. And this gestational cycle runs like absolute clockwork. It takes exactly 26 to 29 days. So, every 4 weeks or so, a healthy female is going to consistently yield anywhere from 20 to 80 fry per brood.
So how do you know when those 26 to 29 days are almost up? Just watch for these two clinical signs. Step 1 is the gravid spot. This is a darkened area of pigmentation that develops right near her anal fin. Step 2 is abdominal distension. As the birth gets closer, her abdomen is going to swell up and actually take on a very pronounced, somewhat squared-off silhouette. The second you see that boxy shape, fry are imminent.
Now, all this reproductive biology highlights a major strategy difference depending on what your goals are. If you're a commercial aquaculture facility trying to maximize output, science shows a 1-to-1 male-to-female ratio definitely yields the most fry. But that comes at a massive cost. Intense physiological stress for the female due to the male's constant courtship. So for home community aquaria, where animal welfare is actually the priority, the golden rule is always 1 male for every 2 to 3 females. This disperses the male's attention across multiple partners and completely prevents the females from suffering chronic stress-induced immunosuppression. Okay, let's dive into Section 5, Tank Mates and Disease Prevention, Myth-Busting Community Dynamics. Setting up the perfect community tank definitely requires some careful curation. Generally, platies are super peaceful and gregarious. They do wonderfully with companions like mollies, corydoras, tetras, and harlequin rasbors. When it comes to maternity care, providing densely planted refugia, using plants like Agarria densa is vastly superior to using those tiny plastic commercial breeding traps you see at the pet store. Those traps cause acute stress to the mother. Now here's a massive tip. Beware the guppy risk. Because guppies look so similar, male guppies will frequently misidentify female platies and relentlessly harass them. You want to avoid that. And on the health and biosecurity front, platies are unfortunately vulnerable to a nasty trematode parasite. But the trick to preventing it isn't just bombarding the fish with medicine, you actually have to eradicate the specific intermediate snail host living in the tank to break the parasite's life cycle altogether. Now, some people try to avoid breeding and stress altogether by just keeping an all-male tank. A critical takeaway here is that keeping just 2 or 3 males is a complete myth and, honestly, a recipe for disaster. Small male groups will rapidly establish a brutal linear dominance hierarchy, relentlessly bullying the weakest member. To safely dilute that aggression, an all-male tank actually requires a minimum of 5 to 6 individuals, plus plenty of hiding spots to break line of sight. Let's move on to our final section, where the platy elevates from a simple beginner pet to a true biomedical marvel. Section 6, a scientific superhero, oncology and vector control. The word I really want you to focus on here is oncogenesis. Believe it or not, the scientific community has actually fully sequenced the genome of the platy fish. But why? Because platies develop melanomas, both spontaneously and through controlled breeding. This specific genetic trait has established our humble little aquarium friend as a premier reference model for human cancer research. By studying exactly how tumors develop in the platy, scientists are unlocking the molecular mechanisms of human skin cancer. But wait, their heroics don't just stop in the genetics lab. They actually extend out to global public health. In regions that are endemic with dengue fever, platies are actively being deployed as biological control agents. They are incredibly efficient at hunting down and eating the larvae of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is the primary vector for dengue. And here is an amazing fact. Researchers found a functional difference in their sexual dimorphism. Female platies actually exhibit a markedly higher predation rate on these mosquito larvae than the males do. This makes the females a vital operational tool in suppressing dengue transmission globally. Which leaves us with this final crazy thought. We started out today by looking at a colorful, easy-to-keep pet that just brightens up a living room tank. But beneath those vibrant scales lies a complex organism that's literally helping us fight melanomas and suppress deadly tropical diseases. So it really makes you wonder, if a common beginner fish holds the genomic secrets to cancer and fights global diseases,
what other incredible biological marvels are hiding right under our noses in our own homes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll see you next time.